Marquee game of the week, guys, Bills and the Chiefs. This is two of the teams very high up there in everybody's power rankings all season long, very high up there in the odds as far as to win the Super Bowl. We get them here, unfortunately, not in the championship game, but we do get them this week, and I'm not going to complain. As we sit right now, Chiefs are 1.5 to 2-point home favorites over the Bills. 53.5 to 54 is your total in this one. This has been at 2.5. This has been down to 1. It is settled kind of in this 1.5 to 2. So the money on the Bills has come in, and the money on slightly on the over opened at about 53, sitting 54 at the majority of the books out there. So a little bit of over money coming in on this one. Steven, this is the game that I don't have a bet in my account on, yet it is the game I am most excited for this week. Typically, if you ask me what game are you most excited for, it's probably going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be games that I have bets on. And like that's in any given week. I actually don't have a bet in the account on this one yet. This is the game that I'm most excited about.
Yeah,
this week.
Smallest edge of all the 4 games for me, but the get your popcorn ready game, right? Like this is going to be so much fun to watch this rematch. The one thing I noticed is that if you do want to back Buffalo in this game, to me, I would rather bet their Super Bowl futures before this game, plus 550 at BetMGM. I think that actually is a case where the futures right now are better value than a rolling parlay. The Bills are plus 125 on the money line this week. That might even shorten up even more. So if you're hearing this and that's still there, that's probably the best number that there is. But this is why I like the futures more. If plus 125 this week, probably a 5 or a 6 point favorite against Tennessee or Cincinnati if they win. And even best potential payout scenario as a slight dog against Green Bay in the Super Bowl, which I'm not actually convinced the Bills would be a slight dog in the Super Bowl against Green Bay. I estimated that rolling parlay would pay less than plus 500. So plus 550 at BetMGM right now, plus 500, still a little bit of better value on the futures as well. Christian Cipollini from BetMGM, a trader over there, told me Monday that the winner of this game is going to have Super Bowl odds shorter than 2-1. And right now they're at plus 550 for the Bills. So I would rather bet the futures for the Bills at this point than take money line in this game. And a lot of it is belief in Josh Allen, man. He threw, if this was baseball, he threw a perfect game last week, and he did it in negative wind chills. It was incredible. Touchdown every drive. The last 150 plus passer rating game in a playoff game was Kurt Warner in 2009 with the Cardinals, that 51-45 win over the Packers. And he had the luxury of perfect conditions in a dome. And Josh Allen did it in the dead of winter. So I don't have much of an angle or an edge in this game other than that numbers angle with the Bills futures. And I think that their ceiling is really, really high as Patrick Mahomes with Josh Allen in this offense. And I'm just hoping that the Bills defense, which is obviously better than the Chiefs, can hold up against Patrick Mahomes. That's how I see it.
Brad, going to be an interesting matchup in this one as well. Tyreek Hill versus kind of the Bills corners. We know Tre'Davious White is out. Teron Johnson has actually stepped up really well. And since they moved him over into the slot, and one of the things the Chiefs like to do is move Tyreek Hill into the slot, and then that kind of hides him. And then he actually has scored 7 touchdowns from the slot this season. But Teron Johnson was actually Pro Football Focus 4th best slot corner over the course of the season. So one of the things that the Chiefs really like to do in trying to kind of hide Tyreek Hill, put him in the slot, like don't make it so obvious what he's going to do, is also one of the strengths on the Bills defense is Johnson and his skill at the covering the slot receiver. So that's also fairly interesting in this one. If you look at this Chiefs defense, much maligned at the beginning of the year, certainly got better after the Melvin Ingram trade, but again, not like a good defense in my opinion. I think it's like a more of a above league average defense now, in my opinion, but I still don't think it's a good defense by any stretch. I'm really, really interested in this matchup, but I couldn't find an edge here. I couldn't find a position that I wanted to take. Were you able to get there?
I was not able to get there. I think I would, if forced, I would probably go the Chiefs for a couple of reasons. One is just, I don't think you can be buying any higher on Buffalo, obviously, after what they did last week. In a game where a lot of little things broke their way. Obviously, I think the weather, that usually favours the home team. Obviously, Mac Jones couldn't really throw it. He's out there wearing a wetsuit and not completing any passes. Looking at his own breath on the sideline. The first touchdown, Josh Allen's trying to throw it away, and like Dawson Knox just goes up and grabs it. Micah Hyde makes that insane interception. So there was like every little thing went perfect. And Rob Pizzola did a little study he was talking about this week where he looked at when Josh Allen went supernova, and he looked at the games after that, and he basically just went back to the baseline. It wasn't predictive.
And speaking of baseline there, Brad, I do you think, though, it's talking about the buying high, right? So would we say that the ceiling of both of these two teams is probably about equal, but then the floor is just much lower for the Bills than the Chiefs? Would you think that that's a fair statement?
Yeah, I would say so, because I think Josh Allen he's got that game in him where he throws just two boneheaded picks and it doesn't go well for him. Whereas, you very rarely see that out of Pat Mahomes. You've seen that like 3 games in his career probably. So yeah, I think that is fair. So there's that. The other side of the ball, I'm not convinced this Bills defense is the best defense in the league, as Football Outsiders would have you believe. Since they lost Trey White, they've basically faced one good passing offense, which was the Bucs, and Tom Brady went bananas. So I think they probably do get exposed here. I do think the Chiefs score their points, and then that does leave Josh Allen in comeback mode. Now, Brandon Thorne, he breaks down defensive, offensive line matchups for Establish the Run. He had this as a mismatch. He had the Chiefs DL having a big edge over the Bills' offensive line, particularly Chris Jones on the interior against the guard and the center. And so they're probably going to double team Chris Jones, which leaves Spencer Brown, the rookie right tackle, 1-on-1, probably with Melvin Ingram. And again, Brandon Thorne, he likes that matchup for the Chiefs. So it's not quite. If it goes off Pick'em, maybe I'll jump in. Maybe I'll have a little bit of KC first half. But yeah, I mean, I think it is a well-line game, but I would lean Chiefs.
What do we think, just real quick on the way out on this one, what do we think about the total here? I mean, 54, listen, I understand 2 good offenses, 2 whatever, but I mean, listen, it's not like we haven't seen the Chiefs sputter before. I mean, look, they didn't get it going last week against the Steelers until a quarter and a half in, right? I mean, like they were getting shut down by the Steelers defense, who, by the way, was a bottom half defense this year. I think we have this mindset that the Steelers defense is good, but this year it was not. It was a bottom half defense over the course of the season. And then, like you said, Brad, I mean, what if we get average Josh Allen or average Bills as opposed to elite Bills here? I mean, I know people seem to be betting the over in this one, and I know that's going to be a trend regardless because people like to bet overs, but I mean, I think if this thing gets to 55, I'm coming in on the under. I just think that is too many points here for one. Like I said, a Chiefs offense we have seen sputter at times, and a Bills offense that we know for sure can go out there and lay a complete egg if Josh Allen isn't playing, his like level 9 out of 10 game.
Yes, give me your Brad.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll probably lean to the over because, as I say, I don't rate the Bills' defense. I don't think they're really slowing down Patrick Mahomes. I mean, yeah, they started off slowly last week, and then they scored 5 touchdowns in literally 10 minutes. So they can go nuts at literally any point. And I would say who on the Chiefs is good enough to defend Josh Allen? Like, that one of their linebackers was getting arrested this week. I don't see that they have an athlete, a linebacker or safety that can take on Josh Allen one-on-one in the open field. And then so if you start manning up everyone on the outside, that's how the Bengals beat the Chiefs, because, chuck up a go ball to Stephon Diggs or Isaiah McKenzie, like Bills can beat man coverage as well, which is what the Chiefs play. So I would probably, if it goes for 53.5, I think that's probably a take on the over for me personally.
I would only go over here, Matt. I'd be terrified to take the under, to be quite honest. I just think this Bills offense has become more well-rounded as the season has gone on. I think Beasley missing a couple of games has been a revelation for them to have Isaiah McKenzie come out there. I think if Isaiah McKenzie comes back next year and Gabe Davis gets full-time snaps instead of the corpse of Emmanuel Sanders, like that is a really exciting offense. And Gabe Davis is a huge red zone threat for them. Isaiah McKenzie is like a 3 times better version than what Cole Beasley is at this point. Devin Singletary has emerged as well. He has been really strong towards the second half of this or last month of the season here. So, and the Chiefs defense has been 30th in rush D success rate since week 8 and 31st since their bye week. Buffalo quietly top 10 in rush offense DVOA. So I think the Bills offense can do literally whatever it wants in this game. The only question is, can they outscore the Chiefs if Brad, like he says, the Bills defense is potentially overrated playing a soft schedule this year? I think it's a shootout. I do.
Yeah. I have a pretty strong lean to the Chiefs. It's not in my account yet. Look, it's Mahomes at home. I think the Bills need to play perfect in order to win. And I think that their perfect game is probably better than the Chiefs' perfect game. But again, they got to play perfect. And I don't think that you can play perfect all that often. And they did that last week. I mean, minus 125 on the money line just to erase any sort of fluky, weird 1.5 spread. I'd probably just play the money line at minus 125 as opposed to bring that 1.5 into play and just get in on them at a price like that. So could end up in my account like that before it's all said and done here for the Chiefs. Guys, I am super excited about this week. Of course, look, bets on 3 of the 4 games were, and then the 4th game is the one that I'm most excited about, the one that I don't have a bet on quite yet. So I can't wait to get this one done, and I can't wait to get back in here and us talk about these championship games as well next week. So good luck on all the bets this week, everybody out there. For Brad, for Steven, I'm Matt. Talk to you guys next week.